Hi, my name is Jorge Mongay. I am a professor at the University of Barcelona in the area of international business. I am very happy to cooperate with the Carnegie Mellon University Marketing Organization in order to be able to clarify a little bit of these questions and topics made by members of this organization. I teach international business, as I said. I've been working many years in the field of international business and international marketing, and actually I share my time between Barcelona, Spain, where I live 7 months a year, and China and Thailand in the other 5 months. I am very interested in emerging markets. This is a little bit what I do. Talking a little bit about today's topic, which talks a little bit about marketing around the planet. I would like to address the first question made by our fellows, which is talking a little bit about franchises and a little bit the dilemma of adaptation and standardization. Which one is the balance? Well, I would say this is a very difficult question to answer. We are in business. It's difficult to talk about or to give a perfect equation to say what is right and what is wrong. But most of the international companies or multinational groups would like to be able to create products and standardize them and set up the same strategy in many different countries. The reality is that this is not always possible. Countries demand a certain degree of adaptation. Let me use one example because the fellow was talking about franchising. McDonald's is the biggest franchise system in the world, and McDonald's offers to its employees a system of a procedures manual to follow. Once McDonald's sets up a restaurant or through a franchisee a restaurant in the United States, these procedure manual or these protocols are very easy to follow within the United States or in countries, for example, as Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, etc., etc. These type of procedures are not so easy to follow by employees which work for McDonald's in other different cultures, like for example Latin American countries. People do not follow processes in the same way. Addressing the question number 2, which wants to talk a little bit about legal restrictions on markets. Well, I would like to say yes. Each market, each country, or each region in the world has its own legal requirements. For example, in case that you want to sell something or export something from the United States to the European Union, your products will have to be accredited, or let's say accredited or homologated through the EU level. Let me use another example. If you are interested in exporting products from food products from United States to Middle East, to Muslim countries, for example, these food products must be certified by halal certification. It is a Muslim certification which states that the products are fully compliant with the Sharia law. And there is something similar if you're interested in exporting products to Israel. In this case, this is called kosher certification. So legal restrictions apply in very different ways in many different countries. The question number 3 makes reference to cultural settings, or up to what extent cultural settings impact on different marketing strategies. Well, I would say that this is very important. It's very important to understand culture. Professor Gerard Hofstede from the Netherlands, he defines culture as the software of the mind. And culture can be defined by many different components. Some of these components are for example, in levels of individualism versus collectivism, uncertainty avoidance, or up to what extent members of a society can tolerate risk, etc. So in reality, this is very important for products. Every time that you sell a product in another country, you need to understand what people in that country want. Let me use one example. Many soft drinks in the United States are consumed on the go. American customers like to drink in the car, or they use a mug in order to get their drink. This is, for example, this is the business model of Starbucks. Starbucks serves all its varieties of coffee, probably 80% of them to go in America. But if you stay in Barcelona, Spain, or in Italy, the behavior of the customers is to drink coffee in a terrace, or to drink coffee in a restaurant, right? So customers give themselves 10 or 15 minutes to drink the coffee whenever you want. So cultural settings are really, really important for marketing strategies. The question number 4 makes reference to a startup process internationally and how the cultural differences apply again. Well, here I would say that if you're interested in setting up a new branch office or a new business activity in another country, the first thing that I strongly recommend you to check is the ease of doing business. It's easier, in some countries it's easier to set up a business or to do business than in others. Let me use the example of, for example, the United States. In the United States it's relatively easy to do business. The whole country is organized in order to be effective and in order to be productive. It's relatively easy to have access to credit. It's relatively easy to understand or to deal with the local administration. It's relatively easy to have a license in order to develop a business, etc., etc., etc. I would say that the whole framework is defined in order to make the things easy. But this is the case of countries or liberal economies like the US, Canada, some Scandinavian countries, New Zealand, Australia, or some other Asian countries like Singapore or Hong Kong. But on the other side, if you want to set up a company in a place like India or in a place like China, the bureaucracy or the red tape is going to make you go through a big number of steps and processes. So that will not be an easy process to complete. Some countries, the weight of the public administration is bigger. In some countries, is bigger in some countries, or is bigger in some countries than in others. The question number 5, it's making reference to the slogans. Up to what extent the slogans of different advertising campaigns can be used equally in one place or another. Well, let me say again that the dream of the multinational companies is to use the same strategies and to use the same slogans, so they can do what I call copy and paste from one country to another. Selling the same product and using the same slogan will help the company to reduce costs. But this is not always possible. It's possible in some examples. For example, it's coming to my mind, McDonald's, I'm loving it. This is a kind of a slogan that is used worldwide, or the slogan of Nokia connecting people. Right? These are very generic value propositions that the companies use. On the other side, it's not always possible. The added value of the services or the products changes in every country where they are sold. For example, again, talking about McDonald's, McDonald's is its positioning in the United States is as is perceived by the customers as a fast food chain or fast food companies. The positioning of McDonald's in certain places in Southeast Asia, like for example in Thailand, is perceived as a restaurant, a kind of exotic American restaurant where people like to go, and a restaurant which is significantly more expensive than the local restaurants where people eat in general. So this is something that should be taken into account as well. Finally, one of the fellows is addressing a question related to the unique marketing techniques. He says, how many unique marketing techniques, of what are the unique marketing issues, which ones are the unique marketing things which appear in your country or in a country which is not the US? Well, let me use the example of Spain, and I would like to talk about Spain and other Mediterranean countries like Italy or the south of France, or for example Greece. In Spain and in Italy, customers prefer, or customers like, to buy products or do shopping process on the street. This is mainly because the weather is very good, it's a very mild weather, and customers value a lot the personal touch, the possibility to interact with a person that is selling them the item. This is quite different to other marketing strategies in other countries where buying using internet or buying on distance is much more common. I would say that in Spain the personal touch is much more important than other factors in other countries. Thank you very much.